The silver market just broke. And if you were asleep 6 hours ago, you missed it. While most of the world was still resting, the price of silver in Shanghai soared to $100 per ounce. And in the West, CNBC, Bloomberg, and every other major outlet are calling it a glitch, a temporary anomaly. But here's the truth. They're trying to downplay what just happened. This isn't just a price spike. This is a massive shift, one that's fundamentally breaking apart the silver market as we know it. The East and West are decoupling, and it's happening right under our noses. What you're seeing now isn't a simple rally. It's a structural fracture that could change everything, and you need to understand it now before it's too late. The risk, it's massive. If you don't grasp the significance of this moment, you'll be left behind. Stay with me because what I'm about to reveal will reshape the way you think about silver, the global market, and your investment strategy. What happened in Shanghai is just the beginning. You see, while the price of silver spiked to $100 there, the Western markets are still stuck, trading it at a fraction of that. It's not just a discrepancy, it's a massive disconnect between two major markets that should be aligned. And that gap, it's growing by the hour. Let me ask you this. Why is the West so calm about this while the East is paying $13 more per ounce for silver? Why is the mainstream media dismissing this as a local glitch? You're being told everything is fine, everything is normal. But when have the markets ever been this out of sync before? When have the rules been this clearly broken? Right now, you're witnessing a massive opportunity, and most people don't even see it. The price of silver is not just moving, it's shifting the entire structure of the precious metals market. It's not a rally, it's a reset. And if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss it. I'm going to tell you exactly what's happening behind the scenes. In Shanghai, physical silver is being traded at $100 per ounce. But back in the West, the official prices on screens are barely hitting $90. That's not just a minor difference. It's an arbitrage gap so wide, it's impossible to ignore. And this isn't some small discrepancy. This is a critical flaw in the market's foundation. Now, notice what's missing here. The financial media isn't reporting this. They're glossing over the real issue. The physical supply is draining out of the West, and no one's talking about it. This is happening right now. Silver is bleeding out of the vaults in New York and London, and it's moving fast. The physical metal is being siphoned off, heading east where the premiums are so much higher. This isn't just about a price spike. It's about the structural collapse of the Western silver market. And the reason this matters to you is simple. When the metal runs out, so do your options. What happens when the inventory is gone? What happens when the West can't deliver the physical silver anymore? Now let's talk about how this situation is escalating. This isn't the first time we've seen things go wrong in precious metals, but what's happening now is different. When silver started outperforming gold overnight by a 4-1 ratio, that should have been the first sign that we're entering a new phase. When silver moves that fast, it's not just a market rally, it's parabolic. This is the phase where things move so quickly that by the time mainstream media figures out what's going on, it's already too late. Think about the 2008 financial crisis, when the cracks in the system were ignored until they became impossible to deny. This is that moment, except it's not about banks failing. It's about precious metals. And here's the real danger. The silver market's collapse isn't happening in isolation. It's connected to something much bigger, an entire systemic malfunction that's unfolding right now. As the East gobbles up all available silver, the West is left with paper promises and dwindling supplies. What happens when the physical supply runs dry? That's when the real panic will set in. Now, the evidence doesn't just stop there. What we're seeing today goes beyond simple price movements. The gap between East and West is widening faster than anyone expected, and that's where things get really disturbing. Let me show you the contradiction that's impossible to ignore. Western markets are still trading silver at $89 per ounce, while the East is paying over $100. And yet, despite this massive disparity, Western institutions aren't adjusting. They're pretending like nothing's wrong. This is the part that should make you sit up. The market isn't just shifting, it's collapsing. Physical silver is leaving the West and heading east, and once it's gone, that's it. There's no printing more physical silver. No amount of paper contracts will change that. This is the moment the system cracks. And when the cracks spread, it's impossible to reverse course. things are moving faster than anyone anticipated. In the past few hours, we've seen multiple warning signs stacking up one after another. First, the arbitrage gap exploded. Now we're seeing massive vault drawdowns in the West. But it's not stopping there. The silver market is no longer in control. It's spiraling. We've already seen the price differential widen, and the physical metal is flowing out of the West. What happens next is critical, because this isn't just about a price correction. This is a full-blown crisis. Imagine this. You've got multiple developments happening at once, each more urgent than the last. First, the Shanghai premium keeps growing. Then vaults in New York and London are being drained faster than expected. The pressure is building on the Comex and LBMA, and soon they're going to have to make a choice. Let the price rise to meet the East or watch the system collapse. What happens if this continues? Well, if these vaults keep emptying and the gap keeps widening, the West is going to be forced to raise prices to catch up, or they risk a total market breakdown. This is the point where it gets real. Now, let's talk about the real-world consequences of all this. This isn't just about numbers on a screen. It's about you, the retail investor. If you've been holding silver or thinking about it, what's happening now has a direct impact on your future. For years, people have been stacking silver, hoping that one day the market would reflect the true supply and demand realities. Well, that day is here. But here's the problem. Most people won't recognize it until the opportunity is already gone. Think about this. What happens when demand for silver skyrockets while supply continues to drain out of the West? That's when the price explodes, far past what most people can afford to buy. Those who wait for the mainstream media to tell them it's safe will be stuck watching from the sidelines as the price soars past $120, $130, maybe higher. So here's a question for you. If you're feeling that sense of urgency, that nagging feeling that something huge is coming, let me know in the comments. Are you seeing premiums spiking at your local dealers? Are you noticing anything strange about the market? If this feels familiar, say so below, because what happens next could change everything for you. Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. Why is all of this happening? What's the underlying force driving this silver crisis? It's not just random market volatility, it's incentives and leverage at play. The reason this is happening and why it's accelerating has everything to do with systems of control in the financial world. The Comex and LBMA run on fractional reserve models, meaning they only hold a fraction of the physical silver they claim to have. So when people stop settling for cash and start demanding actual delivery, the system starts to break down. This doesn't just affect the silver market. It's a symptom of a much larger systemic issue with global finance. Paper promises are everywhere, whether it's in commodities, stocks, or debt. And when people start demanding real value, the entire system risks collapsing under its own weight. It's unsettling to think about, but this is the world we live in. The entire financial system is built on the idea that people won't ever demand delivery. They'll just trade paper. But in moments like this, when the pressure builds, the cracks start showing. Now, we're at a critical fork in the road. There are two paths forward, and either one could change everything. The first path is the continuation of the silver reset. If the East keeps paying higher premiums and the Western markets can't catch up, the price will continue to soar. Silver could easily hit $130 per ounce, maybe even more. The pressure from the physical market will force the price upward, and that will trigger a massive rush to buy. Everyone will want in when they realize it's real. But there's a second path. The Western markets might try to close the gap. If they do, expect massive intervention. Margin hikes, price controls, all sorts of measures to keep things from spiraling out of control. If that happens, the system will stabilize for a while, but that doesn't mean the risk is gone. It'll just push the crisis down the road a little longer. The real question is, what happens if the Western markets fail to close the gap before the East moves even more metal? If they can't act fast enough, the market could break in ways that are unimaginable. We're on the edge of something huge. And the next move is already in motion. So here we are. The numbers are in. The Shanghai premium is real. The arbitrage gap is widening. The physical supply is draining out of the West. And the gold to silver ratio is collapsing. There's no denying it anymore. This isn't just a market fluctuation. This is a structural reset. But here's the thing. I can show you all the numbers, all the charts, but at the end of the day, you have to make the decision. Do you believe in what's happening right now? Do you believe this is the start of something bigger? Something irreversible? The window is closing fast. The smart money has already moved in. The question is, are you going to position for this, or will you wait for CNBC to tell you it's safe when silver is already at $120? If you've made it this far, you're serious about this. Now it's time to act. Follow this channel for more updates, hit the bell for real-time alerts before the markets open, and leave a comment to let me know what you're seeing in your local market. Your insight could be the key to understanding what comes next. Remember, when the West is asleep, the East is moving fast. Stay sharp and don't let the opportunity pass you by.